All right. Welcome back to Coffee with Specs, featuring me, BrycethePrince. There's Specs.
Hi, I'm the
I
host.
pointed the wrong way. Specs.
Hi, I'm the host. I'm Specs.
By the way, because I'm inverted, so I gotta say Specs, and I'm pointing the wrong way, so I have to Specs.
You know, you could flip.
Just come here.
You could flip yourself.
Like,
You could flip yourself, and I could just flip you in here. But do we really want to? Okay. Now, I'm waiting for you one day to pull up your green screen and just not let where I don't have to use a camera border anymore, and you'll make me feel bad that I don't have a green screen.
Yeah. One of these days, I'm gonna just be in front of my green screen over here, like sitting over here with the green screen behind me, and I'm just getting my logos and just be like, yeah, I'm better than Specs.
You know what I would love to do? And I need a green screen to do it. I want to do the. I've seen them where I want to get like the two we should get, if I got a green screen, because if I could get it under my bed, I probably would do it. But I get a green screen and we could have like the two desks just facing each other, like a virtual desk or something.
Oh yeah. Make it look like we're basically sitting next to each other.
Yeah, we'll have the first take desk thing going on.
That'd be interesting. So what's going on in the land of Specs Gaming TV?
Well, let's see. I uploaded. I have to look at my phone, so I got to see how many videos I uploaded this week.
I know your uploads, like, you're on a much faster pace than I am.
I think I uploaded 4 videos this week and 2 are on Monday. With the podcast, then we had the MLB The Show 23 cover reveal, which we'll talk about later. And then I had a Halo 2 video. And then today, Friday, I redid an older video with the friend of the channel, Soccer Chick TV. She is a former esports athlete. And when she was still playing esports, we did a little video on Hearthstone where I'll spoil it. She beat my skull in, because she is way better than me at it. Yeah. And I was using a very bad deck. But it was fun. And that went up today, being Friday. So it'll still be up there. It's a good video. It's nothing special. It's just me making fun of myself. And the way I edit it to be really, really funny. It's not long. It's literally 6 minutes long. My introduction's a minute. So really the actual action's only 5 minutes. So if you're on the toilet, it's a great video to watch while you're taking a poop. Just saying.
It's like a really long short.
It really is. Like, it's literally just nonstop action. Like, I cut out I literally edited it today. I literally trimmed all the fat. It's just wall to wall action. There's actual editing and stuff. Like, I'm trying to, if you watch my last 2 videos, I'm stretching myself to make content a little more like what everyone else is doing to a certain degree with it, where it's way more like compacted. I'm trying to keep everything under about 10 to 15 minutes. I know the Halo video is 20, but I'm trying to compact things a little bit more. So I'm hoping that kind of working it and tweaking it works. But it's just some of those videos take so long to edit when I want to do it. But
I tried to do that with, I think it'll be Tuesday or Wednesday's video.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of when I'm going to release this next one. I already have one like right here up like it's been edited and everything. I just need to like put it in and upload it. But I don't want to have like 2 videos like boom boom sort of thing. Even though I'm sure the algorithm would love that, but.
Yeah.
I just want to get like enough content going in that way, and I want to get the video out of the way before Harry Potter comes out, because I'm going to try, possibly by the time this podcast episode comes out, I'll have tried a hour or so of streaming.
Maybe like a little collab.
Actually, with my green screen behind me.
Maybe a little collab live stream.
Yeah, maybe you'll hop in and play some Fall Guys, and
yeah, maybe.
And then I'll raid you, and you can continue the stream wherever you want to go.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's what
I can officially raid someone.
There you go. You can raid me with your one viewer or two viewers.
Yeah, which is gonna be you.
Yeah, me lurking. Hi, welcome in, Raider. How's it hanging? Me.
I don't know. I mean, who knows? There's always random people that kind of just pop in, right?
I've met random people, especially like, so I hit 200. I hit 200 followers Wednesday, because I was scrolling around in a friend's chat, and I hit 200. But a lot of it's been like, because I've been playing Doki Doki with Sabbath, and for whatever reason, it's doing well. But I think it's doing well because it's a really chat interactive game where I'm not focused on gameplay. It's just narrative storytelling. So whenever anything happens, we can react to it, and we can react to how like chat's reacting to it. So that game gave me like, I only needed 7, but I hit 200. I'm on pace for about 100 a year, so I want that to kind of pick up. But we hit it, and then my anniversary, my first stream's on Valentine's Day, which was an accident. So in the coming weeks, we'll be celebrating. we'll be doing something probably the week I don't know what day of the week that is. I think that's the 18th. We'll probably do something.
Wait, you're saying Valentine's Day wasn't so important to you that you needed to stream? What?
I honestly didn't. Well, okay, I didn't realize it because I was like, wait, there's no way that was my first stream, and at least according to my Instagram, it was.
You weren't trying to impress some lady on Valentine's Day with the best Valentine's stream ever?
Bro, it was literally like COVID was still going on, so no. It was the 14th. It was the 14th of 21. It was my first stream, so it was still kind of like, you're still kind of hunkered down. That was my first stream. I'd been making content since, oh god, my first video upload on YouTube.
That was like in the middle of the pandemic, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. Like my first YouTube video, I want to say was like January 5th of 21.
I kind of remember that. I remember you like changing your Twitter handle.
Yeah, I changed everything over. So yeah, no. So my first video was January 8th of 21, which was a BR video, and I literally uploaded one part of it and never went back to it again. And then I did like a bunch of, so I did strictly MLB The Show content for a bit, and I threw in some Hollow Knight, and then the podcast, and then Hollow Knight, and then right before this new game dropped, like this time 2 years ago, then I did Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, and I still haven't beaten it, so maybe I should go back and do it.
My first video that I ever uploaded to my gaming channel was I had recorded, because I was recording it because back when I used to play Mario Maker 2 all the time, and I wanted to share it with one of my buddies, Spencer, and I wanted to share it because like this level was, I'd call it kind of hot garbage, but I really wanted to beat it because it was like one of those things.
Yeah.
And particularly once you invest so much time into a level, you're like, I gotta beat this now. It's the sunk cost fallacy or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I uploaded that, and the way I recorded that was not with like OBS or anything, because I didn't have a capture card at the time. Even now I just have a cheap capture card.
And do you have one?
Used it in a while.
Do you have one of? Do you have one of these? Like I had back in. Where is it?
It's a little bigger than that. But like, yeah, it's the same kind of thing. It's got a little USB plug.
For those of you who can't see it, it literally just has HD video capture, and it has like, it plugs into like the back end of your computer, or like
if it was near my computer at all, like, but it's on my TV stand because like my desk used to be near my TV.
Just plug it in, or you just plug it in. So it for the record, if you're an up and coming streamer and you want to make content, this thing's $10. This little bad boy, this doohickey right here, $10.
It works until you get into like really intensive.
It graphics. Really, yeah, no, it'll get the job done. I So when I first started, since we're talking about this, I guess when I first started, I was streaming from my MacBook, which is a giant no, don't ever do it. I still stream from my MacBook every now and then, but I don't like do anything other than like small things. But because I was streaming off that, I needed something like that, and it captured everything. It'll capture everything. It captured the show just fine. It was a little delayed, but hey, whatever. It got the job done. And if you're a streamer on a budget, that's all you really need. And plus with that thing too, if you do get a good capture card, whether it's the like what I have, the HD60, that thing can be repurposed to a cam link if you want. And I've used it as a cam link. I've tested it with the cam link. It works. So like something like that, like that's $10 you can use for a cap card. And then once you get a cap card, you get something else. $10.
Yeah. No, yeah, but and so the way I recorded this before that capture card
didn't mean to steamroll. No,
I used to have my Switch plugged into the back of my Xbox One. Okay. And the Xbox One has this thing you can set up so you can use it as like an input for HDMI because it was supposed to be like for cable.
Yeah, it was supposed to be like an all-in-one. It was it was supposed to be like an all-in-one thing. So what
I did, but you can use your Windows. I think technically I did use OBS to an extent, but to stream it. But even then, I'm not 100% sure if it was.
Was it one of those bits where? Was it one of those
Twitch Studio?
Was it one of those weird bits where? I remember
where you can use your Wi-Fi basically to see what your Xbox is doing. Basically,
I did that when back in the college days when.
Yep.
We would,
This is before I had invested any amount of anything into doing content creation. Kind of content. So
we'd watch shows on the free.
And like I said, it's the first one. It's called Escape from Thwomp because that's what the Japanese level.
Yeah, I think I remember watching that. Yeah, and it was like very.
And literally, it's just you never see me, you never hear from me. It's literally just the level. I was mostly uploading it to show my buddy Spencer, but I was like, yeah, I'll let this be like me creating a gaming channel because like this was before even you had really gotten into doing a gaming channel. But I was kind of copying my brother at the time, who was kind of trying to do his own gaming stuff, and I thought, it could be a fun way to share like different things or whatever.
Oh yeah, it was Escape from.
Maybe I'd get more into doing content.
Yeah, that Escape from Flop video is 2 years old and it's only 2 minutes long.
Yeah, but it's also my most viewed videos still. I mean, technically, I've had enough time. It's had enough time up to garner as many views as it has. But ever since then, I've never been able to quite get that same. Although to be fair, my second most viewed video is also Mario Maker, so maybe I'm like, I need to get back into Mario Maker.
I think the thing with Mario Maker is, and I think you've touched on this, I'm watching this now on my phone, with like DGR, is games like that will never really go out of style, I think. I remember
it's the reason I like playing Fall Guys. I mean,
yeah, I remember you had done a video where I think it was like he does the thing. You know him better than I do. I've only watched a little bit of his content. Where it's like first in the world or something, where he does like the levels that aren't like don't have a completed on them. Like either they're like whether they be troll levels or they're just like newer levels are really, really hard. Like troll levels, hard levels, or new levels. I remember I brought that up to somebody else who streams and has Mario Maker, and they're like, oh, I want to do something else, and I brought up the idea of like, well, why don't you try it? Do you have Mario Maker too? I'm like, do that. It's great content. People love it. You find them on the Reddit or whatever. Like people love that crap. And he's like, no. Even I remember he's like, nah, that doesn't really sound like something we do. So we had to vet all of it. I'm like, vet what? You're just playing Mario Maker. Like,
yeah.
World's first.
I guess to some extent, streaming, like DGR has tried doing streams of him clearing, like doing first clears. and people will sit there and get the level code and then snipe his first clear.
That's why
what he's had to start doing is he will like basically pull himself full like with another screen or whatever,
like they do
while he gets the level like
we do
totally
that.
selected, and then
people will do that for the show. Like they'll use like kind of I'm gonna flip my screen really quick just for the video of it. But like people do this in the show, they'll do like they'll flip to their like BRB screen so that no one can like see them do it because they don't want to get stream sniped. So that's not unheard of.
I mean, I think I technically have but I have no way of I'd have to turn off my camera first and then do it, but basically it's this. Oh well. There I am. This.
Yeah, like you could have
this is
that.
my main thing, but yeah, no, yeah. Little behind the scenes of all my stuff. Hold on. There I am.
Yeah,
I'm back.
I mean, there's little tricks with, like we can.
That's the great thing of using the virtual camera. We can show everybody who's watching this instead of. But this whole thing is funny because it's another week of one of those things where we're like.
There's always going to be visual. There's always like visual gags where it's I'm just used to it at this point.
Yeah. It'll be. I'm sure most of our views, I think, mostly are like listens. Typically, are coming from YouTube now.
To some degree.
Turns out we should have been on YouTube all along.
Yeah, it's my fault.
I'm just kidding.
So sticking in the gaming sphere, we had reports earlier this week that going to E3, there's Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony won't be presenting at E3 anymore. Won't be presenting at E3 this summer. So I raised the simple question: is E3 dead? I mean, the answer is yes, because I think the pandemic killed it.
Yeah, that's exactly like the pandemic showed all these gaming places that if they're just like, hey, all our diehard fans, do you just want to see our updates? Like,
there you go.
It doesn't have to be a big event, and we save money on the event, and we still get all our stuff out there. Like,
yeah,
and I mean, like all these companies still do their own event, like I'm trying to think of how to say it. Like they do their own,
like Nintendo's Treehouse. They do like Nintendo does their Treehouse every so often.
Well, but I'm saying like they even do like events like you can attend in person, but it's just for them. They don't have to compete for a space like with Microsoft and Sony. And
I would say at least with E3 is there's not really a need for it. I would say anymore because, like you said, they can do it on Twitch and not to share any space, and they can go as long as they want. They don't necessarily condense it down to it. And most of the time now, we're kind of getting small updates throughout the year anyway, where it was, 2019, it was everything flooded the gates at E3, and that was really it. Like, we didn't really have, like, states of play. I think Xbox is doing, like, it seems like monthly now, sort of, like, updates, and then Nintendo will do Treehouses every quarter or so, thereabouts. So we're not in this weird sphere anymore of like we desperately need E3 anymore. Like they can go direct to their consumers, but I think now with E3s, you're getting more developer studios to get involved. I think last year you had like Bethesda, Ubisoft, EA will still be there. Square Enix will probably do something. So like studios will now do it, but even then it's like I think the fanfare is probably going to be dying out, and probably by 2025, we're going to be like, E3 won't be anything, at least what we know it to be. It might just be like, and it honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if within 2 years, it's not like an indie games expo, where it's just these indie developers now get more of the floor, where we'll see stuff like that. Because now you're at a point where realistically now it's E3 in the summer and then the Game Awards in the winter, and then studios are filling in the gaps. So
yeah,
but
where are all the Scott the Woz E3 videos gonna go?
Dude, that's the thing that sucks is like honestly E3 was like this year I probably would have done E3 content with games, but it's like, I mean, they'll still do it. I just don't, when they say like they're not going to attend, I think that just means like you'll see like virtual stuff or something like within that same week 3-day period. It's just not E3. But again, they don't necessarily need to do anything because we'll probably know more about stuff going in. It's just a matter of like, now we look more so for E3 for like concrete release dates than anything else, where it's like, is it coming out this year? Is it coming out next year? Because I think as of now, for most at least games like we're looking forward to, they're coming out either now or March. Like Harry Potter comes out, I think, next week. Tears of the Kingdom, I think, is like late March, early April. Pokemon's having their DLC probably by the end of the quarter. And then Resident Evil 4, which we're going to be talking about soon, is coming out in March as well. So we're in this spot now where it's like spring quarter stuff's coming out. So maybe we'll get something for E3, but in terms of like releases, we're kind of getting to the spot where it's like spring's coming. So
yeah,
and then
it's a kind of a weird changing of how things are done, but
it's the changing of the times.
Like you and I grew up in the 90s, so like E3 was like how like all these news stations
that's how things
come back with. The Super Nintendo is coming out.
It wasn't even so much that it was the one time because it's electronics. So it was the one time where it was like the precursor for Christmas and what the stuff was going to be for that season, where it was like the SB that all this stuff because it was all holiday season. So.
Well, yeah, and I guess we should be able to know like that since we've been kids, like so much has changed because like I remember I was directing a newscast a couple weeks ago, or maybe it was like a week ago, and we did a story on the computer, like the CES, the Computer Electronics Show.
Yeah,
and everything was about like robotics. This car can change colors and all this stuff, and I was like, man, remember when the Computer Electronics Show used to be like the Super Nintendo's coming out and like all the things that like the average everyday person can get. Now it's like, look at how technology might be in 20 years. And it's like,
it's not even so much as 20 years.
That was always there, but it's like, now you're like future casting. Now it's a bunch of niche things rather than like actual like, hey, this is what's coming out for consumers, because
I think you're getting that
consumer stuff is already going to be out.
I think you're getting that stuff, but a lot of it too now is for investors. Because they want, like, especially like electronic shows and stuff, they want to get investors. Because that's part of E3 too. Is if E3 wants to switch it, they'll switch the paradigm from like I said, you see more indie developers, and maybe even more so than indie developers, you get small streamers, small creators in there to meet some of these guys and get stuff for them. Whereas before like even all these cons, it's almost like herds of people, and like giving smaller guys the shots to get in the room with these people is what I think is going to paradigm a little bit. But that all really depends on like what Twitch and YouTube want to do. Because I don't know. We're in a fickle spot, so maybe the paradigm will shift. I've had bold theories about Twitch that may or may not come true, but we'll see where things fly. Maybe that's the direction it takes. It's like it's going to be indie. It'll be more indie developers and smaller things.
Yeah, for sure. But so kind of changing of the tide, but as much as things change, things continue to stay the same. We get the Resident Evil 4 remake trailer drop.
How you are excited?
Spects is super excited about it.
How you feel about Harry Potter is how I feel about Resident Evil 4 remake. That's how I feel.
Don't get me wrong, I love Resident Evil, the series.
Village was great and all that, and it's just like that engine was so good, and seeing what I've seen so far, is I was talking to my buddy Martin. We've been playing Dead by Daylight a little bit. I've been playing Dead by Daylight his channel, and we've talked about like, oh, the engine's gonna look so good because they have the characters from RE4 in it. They have Ava Wong and Leon. So we're like, dude, even the models on Dead by Daylight look good, but the models we're seeing now, I'm like, good. Like the engine's like smoother now. It's one of those bits where I'm like, dude, this is gonna look great on a PS5. It's gonna look great on a PC. It's gonna look, it looks good. There was a scene, I think another trailer came out like earlier today, and it had rain. The rain, like the reflections look good. I mean, all this is like PC with ray tracing. And it's like, I'm excited.
Well, I mean, what I want is a reimagining of Resident Evil 2.
I think you're going to see that. I think you'll kind of get...
I'm not...
Well, they remade
the
it.
2019 remake was great, but it was basically just putting on a new layer of paint on...
I wonder... I think they might do that with, like... Because I think because this Unreal Engine and the new Unreal Engine are really, really good. So I wonder if you're going to... If they might... They might not ever do... They might redo Resident Evil 2 again. I don't know, because I want to see him redo Resident Evil 1 with that engine. But
yeah,
we're running to a point where it's like they just redid it. Like,
yeah, no, I get that. But I mean, I would love like more like a Final Fantasy 7 type retake on it, where it's like,
I don't think you'll
it's
ever
like
get
the
that.
same story, but maybe like modernizing it.
You might
like
get that. You might see that with 4.
Well, sure. I mean, that's what I'm guessing they're probably doing, but I nothing quite shouts my childhood, much like when I used to watch my brother as a kid, and hearing that deep voice go, Resident Evil 2.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And then I'd watch my brother and like be kind of freaked out, but also kind of like excited at the same time. And it was just like super fun times.
Yeah.
But
I can't wait to play it. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I used to watch my brother play Resident Evil 2 and Silent Hill.
Silent Hill's getting a remake
Great
too.
Games.
Silent Hill's getting a remake
Great
too.
Games. I thought that one fell through like a long time ago.
I thought it was they brought it back.
Did they? Because I know they had like that trailer.
They cut Resident Evil 2 world exclusive deep dive. Yeah, they're redoing it. I just don't think they necessarily see they keep doing it. It's just the problem is Konami and all them. Like they just, they're redoing a site. They're doing it. I just
remember, wasn't it back in the day? There was like that.
There was talks. They were the
PlayStation 3 trailer that they had.
Yeah, that was supposed
PT.
to be. Yeah, it was supposed to be 4. There was stock of the Resident Evil or Silent Hill 4, and that turned out not to be it turned out it fell out. Like I think Konami pulled. Yeah, it was
the guy who was normally the director, and
yeah, it never really worked. So now you're kind of. I mean, now you'll see it. So I mean, I think you're eventually we're gonna get a Silent Hill 2 remake sooner than later.
Yeah, no. I mean, that game was creepy when I was a kid watching my brother play that.
Oh
my gosh, that game was creepy.
But see, the one thing you have to realize, and I don't think Dead by Daylight gets the credit it necessarily deserves with it. So Dead by Daylight has Pyramid Head in it, which is Silent Hill. Like it breathes life back into these games where people are going to be are going to want to go out and play it again, whether they, unfortunately we're going to have to, emulate it, but whether because unless you want to go spend money somewhere and try to get a PlayStation 2 to play it, but these Dead by Daylight is breathing life back into these older horror games like Resident Evil, like the older Resident Evil games, not that people didn't know about them, but Silent Hill was on a basically dead, And same thing, classic horror films too.
Yeah,
but
So, but no, Resident Evil definitely something I'm always willing to try. I haven't played a Resident Evil game in a long time.
They're so good. So good.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm more excited for Harry Potter than Resident Evil 4 remake, but doesn't mean I'm not excited for Resident Evil 4 remake.
Should be. I guess I have to talk about.
Right.
Do we talk about? Do I have
Derek
to talk about?
Jeter.
All right. So this is up Spectacles alley. Here's one of my videos. I talked about. Well, they dropped the cover athlete, which was Jazz Chisholm. Marlins new now center fielder is the cover boy, but like every game, every sports game, they have like an updated like a MVP edition. So this year the MVP edition is Derek Jeter. We haven't had his rights in the game since he retired. I know it's different because he owned the Marlins. Now that he's out, and I think a lot of this had to do with the documentary they did on him, between the docuseries and all that. He's back in the public light, and plus kids. We grew up with Derek Jeter, so he's back in the game. The cover looks okay. I don't care much for the artist. I think they had the manga. I thought the manga style they had last year for Ohtani was really, really good. The only thing I'm bummed at is they have a steelbook for this game. They didn't have one for Ohtani last year. I would have gotten it. So I'm bummed. They also have like a hat, but I don't think I'm gonna get I don't think I'm gonna get the physical copy because when I got the physical copy, yeah, I got it day of launch, but I didn't get the disc until like 3 PM, so I had to buy the digital edition anyway. So I think I'm just gonna get like the digital version, unfortunately. So I don't get the cool hat. I don't get the cream colored hat, but so I have my black one. But it looks good. I like having Derek Jeter back. He's not gonna. I don't think he'll be spectacular, but it'll be cool to play as Jeter in a game again, especially like a fantasy baseball game, because that's what we grew up with was Jeter and the Yankees.
Do you know, looking back on Jeter's career, I love Derek Jeter. He's one of the few Yankees that I'll say that about.
God, he's overrated.
Yeah, I didn't like him necessarily as a Yankee, but I liked him as a baseball player.
God, he was overrated.
But like, yeah, as a player, like in terms of his stats, I look back on his stats, I'm like, he wasn't like, he was good. He was definitely like above average, or more than above average, I should say. But like, he was definitely like a good player. But like people, Yankees fans in particular, talk about him like he was one of the best players of all time. He wasn't. Like looking back at him, he was, like I said, maybe I'm wrong, but he was really good, and he had a lot of.
You know what he did? You know what he did do, and I think this says a lot. Is he won? He was a winner.
No, that's true, and that's true. Like not enough can be said about like what winning means. I mean, look at LeBron. You know, he's won so much, but he hasn't. He's also 4 and like 5 or something in finals, and people use that against him. It's like Jeter didn't have that. It was like if Jeter was going to the World Series, he was going to win the World Series.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. But I'm saying, like, it's just funny. Like, I remember as a kid being like, "Wow, yeah, Jeter's one of the best players of all time," because that's what I was being told by Yankees fans, and I believed it because I like Jeter. But now I look at it and I'm like, "Oh, okay." I mean, yeah, he's still definitely a great player, and there's more to be said than just stats, obviously, in terms of what makes a player great and what makes a player a Hall of Famer. But like, it's just one of those things where you like look back and you're like, oh, hey, yeah.
I never released
not as groundbreaking as we once thought, right? So
yeah, it's one of those things too where I've looked back and I did a video and I still want to release it. I just gotta like do a lot. There's a lot of work to do on it, but I did do a deeper dive into 10-year deals, and when it comes down to like Jeter as like guys with longer like contracts like that, he succeeded at that deal. Like that deal's not a bad deal. It was a good deal. It's just the deal was a success because of like what they both did. And I think sometimes you don't get guys who just win a lot in baseball to that level.
Yeah.
And Jeter's one thing we were talking about with Jazz Chisholm being on the cover was do normal people or normies know who Jazz Chisholm is? It's like, no, but I made the claim that like this year's MLB The Show is going to sell really, really well. And I think now I'm proving right because everyone knows who Derek Jeter is. I just don't know how many people are going to be very confused when they say, wait, that's not Derek Jeter on the cover. Oh, it's the expensive one. That's Derek Jeter.
Yeah.
But I will say this though. On PS5, the game is $70, so it's only a $30 increase, which I won't tell you to spend your money, but to me that's not really a giant step up, honestly. So I think this is gonna be the one year we're gonna see like sales be really, really high for upper echelon edition over a standard version, strictly because of who's on the cover.
Yeah. So no, it makes you wonder if they did that on purpose a little bit. Like Jazz Chisholm was a really good player.
I did laugh.
I did legitimately. It makes me wonder if they chose the person who was.
I said that didn't I say that in our
really
chat?
Good.
In our chat, I made the joke. I said it's a little ironic that Jazz Chisholm, a really Miami Marlin
guy, and then pair him against one of the most well-known baseball players of our generation.
A good young electric player who's going to get people's eyes on it gets upstaged by his former owner.
Yeah,
I thought that was really, really funny.
But that's the thing is, I think they're trying to push like, hey, buy the expensive.
No, but you buy.
Let's sell the nice copy.
But regardless of the nice copy, it's literally just a different cover. The skin of the game is still going to be like that intro screen. If you look it up, that screen is still Jazz. It's not going to be Derek Jeter. It's going to be Jazz. It'll still be Jazz Chisholm. It's just the outer exterior is going to be Derek Jeter. So you're still going to, you get the dichotomy of like, well, who do you want your cover guy to be? Because I have out in my living room. Should I go get it? I have the steelbook for MLB Show 21, which had Jackie Robinson on the cover. This is the MVP edition for 21. They didn't have one last year, but it's just the steelbook. It'll probably be something like this. I like steelbooks. I think they're really cool, but that's it. It's just the steelbook. And then the game's in there. That's just a code, but that's all it's probably going to be is just this. This is nice, though. Like I said, I like steelbooks and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Yeah,
I think
if you're an enthusiast for that kind of game, like, it's definitely a bigger thing to get, but I'm the type of, with all my sports games is like, I love playing all these different kinds of sports games, but I typically am not going to spend $60 to play it, like, or 40 or 50 or whatever.
It is on. I will say,
like, my whole thing with NBA 2K is I'm waiting for the next few weeks when 2K
like Mad's gonna go on sale.
22 becomes like
nickel
$1.
I'm going to tell you that I'm going to say this, and I'm glad you brought this up because it reminded me to state this. This year, MLB The Show 23 will be on Game Pass day one. They've already said that. So
yeah. I mean,
so you can play
Game Pass renewing. I can't remember.
So if you have Game Pass and you have an Xbox, the 28th, you get it. You still have to pay to get early access, but that whatever. That doesn't really mean a whole heck of a lot, to be honest with you. But yeah, if you want to start base game, bada bing, bada boom, you get it for free on Xbox if you have Game Pass, which basically costs you $9.
Yeah.
And you can totally do it free to play. I'm doing, for the record, my content for the show, I'm going to be free to play again. I'm actually going to try to make more actual content on it, but I'm probably going to be free to play. I like the free to play grind. I think I tackled it very poorly this year. I'm not going to do that next year for this game. I'm going to hit it really, really hard for content and all this stuff. So You can totally do it free to play. I do it. Some other Daddy Dimmu TV is another one. He does it free to play. He'll get all the collections. So you can do it free to play without spending a dime, except for that $10 a month. And you can play the game. Go for it. Don't spend anything on subs. It's just a matter of how much you want to grind. But yeah, you can play this game literally basically for free in a catalog of games that you pay $10 for. I think that's a great deal. That's just me.
Yeah. No, I mean, again, it also depends on your interest level in terms of the.
No, I mean, if you're like if you're like a really big baseball fan, and that's like where you're kind of doing, that's good. If you have it, honestly, if you have an Xbox One and you have Game Pass, I would try out every game that drops day one. Honestly.
Yeah. And I mean, give me a month into baseball season, and I'll probably be playing the show.
Yeah,
as like a fun little
the show. Thing. The show this year for me was always the game I played. Like I would just grind on Friday night. You and I would do the podcast, and I would grind afterwards. So because that's when content drop was Friday. But
maybe after maybe when it does come out, the show, the next one, 23. Maybe I'll try to figure out your streaming schedule, and I'll stream the show just beforehand. Well, no, I know, but maybe I'll figure out like a night where you're about to stream. I'll stream just beforehand, and then I'll be like, "Hey, here's all the one viewer that I have, and it's you."
Yeah. No,
comes back full circle, right?
Yeah, there you go.
But who knows? Maybe come April, maybe I have a few.
You might. It's very possible.
That kind of content.
It's possible.
We'll see. Like I said, it's this whole streamer thing. I'm more just doing it for fun rather than trying to actually become like a top of the line streamer.
Yeah.
So, but so we talked about this for last week and kind of the week before. Artie, I read some. I think we were reading. We had been sharing stuff. There's a tweet you shared with me. I'm trying to remember what the tweet said.
There's a bunch
but
of them.
You said
there was stuff earlier.
Oh well, there was the one you shared with me. It's the off-season grade. But
I cut that. So okay, yeah. So that was if you ever release the podcast uncut. I made the comment that certain people were judging the Angels harshly because of Artie, and I take issue with that compared to certain other teams. And one person who did is a Yankee fan, and I said, well, what did the Yankees do? They stood pat. They only really signed Carlos Rendon, who really didn't offer that. I think on the grading sheet I sent you, they got like a B-, and the Angels got like a B+, and it was like, I thought the Angels lost the offseason. But it's like, so other people see it the way I see it? Interesting.
It's almost like you have good takes.
It's almost like I use my brain. But speaking of like dumb takes, there was one earlier today where I still don't know where this stuff comes from. It's one of those bits where I almost want to be like, is this collusion? Is there colluding going on with the Mets and Shohei? Because every time we hear it, and on MLB Network, Mad Dog's show, High Heat, they brought up again like, oh, Ohtani wants to win. He said he wants to win. And it made it onto Twitter. Now, one thing about Angels Twitter is if you say anything about our boy Shohei Ohtani, they will come after you and demand, well, where'd you hear that? And I guess the person who did that take was blocking people asking for a source.
Sources.
I don't know if it was necessarily a source or just something that came up because it was the same bit again. Well, he clearly wants to win, and already not selling the team clearly says that team's not going to win. And Steve Cohen is in win now mode, so clearly like they want to be together. And the Angels don't get in the postseason where he needs to be, but the Mets will. And everyone's like, "Cool, where are you hearing this?" Because John Heyman's doing the same shtick again. Where it's like Mets, and we're like, everyone's like, where you getting this information from? It really does feel like collusion. It feels like this is where I laugh at because I feel like this is crap. I hear you deal with the NBA, where it's like, you always hear those rumblings of like blank players go to New York and deals are always done. It feels like that again, but it's gonna be a whole year. It's gonna be a whole year of like he wants to go. He's like he'll be a Met. He's gonna be a Met. He's gonna be a Met. Like he's not. I know he's not gonna be a Met. I don't think he's so. There was an article. I keep just going. Sorry, but there was an article. There was an article somewhere where they brought up where they talked about like he actually is very private. He doesn't really like to be in the public eye. He's not one of these like guys that wants the spotlight on him. He kind of wants to be hidden. So I'm like, that's people who know him and who are in Orange County who got to know him. That's what they're saying. Everyone else in the national media is like, oh, he wants to win. He wants this. And he's going to be a Met because Cohen wants to win. I'm like, why am I going to believe you versus the people who know who are like, actually, he's kind of private? Because I remember that kind of with the show PR is they really marketed him weirdly with it. Not like, I mean, they don't really market anyone really well with the show. But at least with like Tatis, I remember the year prior, it was kind of like Tatis was sort of more all over the place. Shohei wasn't. So it really does give off this thing of like, maybe he does really like to be more so behind the curtain a little bit compared to some other guys. Like same thing with Trout. I think there were two promos, like a Budweiser promo where it looked awkward, and Ohtani with like New Balance cleats, it kind of looked awkward. And it's like, the Angels have two stars who really aren't traditional superstars where they want to be out everywhere. They kind of want to be behind the scenes more, which is something that doesn't really work in New York. When you're a big star in New York, you're a big star. But I find it interesting every time because it never. It's going to be a year of it. It's going to be a year of, if I don't think they play the Mets, but like if they play the Mets, you're going to be like, oh, Ohtani could be in a Mets uniform next year. And it's going to be a year of just odd collusion and that colluding feeling all year. Unless he signs something in spring training, which is, I'd laugh because I could see that honestly happening.
Yeah, no, yeah, for sure. I mean, I read there was that news came out from the Sports Illustrated,
and
it basically came down to it says, Angels or MLB Insider says Halo's out of Shohei Ohtani race. Dodgers are favorite.
That race didn't even start. I saw that too, and I'm like, but the race didn't start yet. I mean,
and then I'm like looking, and I'm like, I'm looking and I go to read the article because like everybody on like Angels Facebook or Angels Twitter was like, oh, this is what they're saying, that the Angels are out, and then all of a sudden it's quoting John Heyman.
Yeah, I don't know why we're. Post, I don't really understand.
Of course, everyone assumes he's gone from the Angels. Literally, the entire comment is just,
John Heyman.
Everybody assumes this is what we're assuming because if Artie's staying, then Ohtani's gone. It's clear, guys. And it's like so SI's reporting this like the Angels have been voted as out, but then the article doesn't say anything like hey, guess what? This person who knows Shohei said he doesn't want to go to the Angels because Artie's still the owner. Until somebody says that, until you have that to report, stop with the saying Angels out of Ohtani race, because all you're doing is guessing what Ohtani's thinking. That doesn't count. That's not news.
That's not even reporting.
That's just speculation. Well, that's not news. Be good journalists.
Well, I mean, don't you... And this, I go back to it. I tweeted at them earlier, but Locked On Halo Super Halos podcast. If you don't listen to them, go listen to them. They're great guy. They're great. But they had Sam Blum on, and Sam Blum is a goddamn hero. That man deserves an award for what he does. I don't believe things until I see it from Sam at this point.
Well, and then my favorite thing in that article, It says, this report comes after Heyman's report that Ohtani is far less likely to remain in Anaheim now that Moreno is staying. And then the next sentence is, so clearly his sources are telling him Ohtani is gone.
What sources? No one else has reported that.
But the whole thing is like the quote we just read. Basically, he's just saying, "Oh well, yeah. I mean, if Hardy's staying, he must be gone."
See,
and
the
it's
whole
like no. So all you're doing is speculating.
No.
So there's nobody saying. No, I don't even think Heyman's said. My sources are telling me Ohtani's gone.
No. Hold on. You know what his source is? He does have a source. You know who his source is?
Him?
No. You know who John Heyman's source is, right?
Who?
Boris. Scott Boris is basically his source. The one thing, if you've been around the block with LB Twitter, the one thing that everyone knows, and they know, front office guys knows, all these guys know it. Whenever John Heyman tweets, it's Scott Boris's mouthpiece. So anything he says, that's what Boris wants the narrative to be. Boris wants the narrative out that Ohtani wants at Anaheim. It doesn't.
Is that how the arson judge thing came about?
Yeah, no, 1,000%. But the point being is, he's not a Boris client. He's not represented by the Boris Corporation. At all. But the fact of the matter is, if that news is out there, it benefits it'll benefit Scott Boris somehow, because no one else is reporting. It's only John Heyman. So either Ohtani's telling John Heyman exclusive information that's not happening, or he's making shit up. And we have this weird thing, and for some reason, all journalists do it. I don't understand journalism these days, but they have this weird bit of someone, like, when it comes to like actual news, somebody I followed always laughs, and they say, like, he goes, there's no actual editorial writing. There's only editorials anymore. There's no actual news writing anymore with writing. Everything's an opinion piece. Everything's an editorial. Nothing's just straight black and white news anymore. There's always some twist. There's never just like what, like a news brief. Like,
yeah,
like you work in news, you know, where it's like the news, and I don't mean this like in a bad way, but the news is always like feels very black and white, right? Like, you direct this stuff, like, you know, it's guys reading a teleprompter. Like, eggs were $3 today. Bozo the Clown went to visit the kids at the local children's hospital today. Like, it's very black and white. It's very dull. You have to go from a guy's head was found in an elevator shaft to puppies were around the park. Like, that's news, folks. It's boring. It's mundane crap. Even in sports, it's like every once in a while you'll get something good, but most of the time it's Kobe Bryant went 24, 10, and 7. Like, that's most of the time. There's really not a lot to report. It's really bad that we've reached a point where reporters across the board have this weird thing of they want to throw their opinion into it. They rely on them as their own source instead of it being his agent said this, he said this, or, hey, other owners, other GMs, other agents think this is what's going to happen. Like that's all it has to be. It doesn't have to be like this weird, like, I think this because I'm John Heyman. Like, that, shut up, dude. Either report the news or shut up.
It's going to be really funny when the news comes out in I don't know, however many months, Ohtani signs a 10-year, $500 million contract with the Angels. And then everybody's going to comment, oh, he must not want to win because the Angels will never help him win. And it's like, well, no, I mean, the Angels got to sign good players, and Ohtani's one of the best. So,
yeah, it's a two-pronged thing where I don't know. It's such a funky thing. I wish sometimes baseball was like basketball, where it's like one guy, or even football, where it's like one guy just fixes it. I guess I want a lot of things.
Perry's taken a lot of steps to.
No, it's better.
Fixed, so
it's better.
I think this season's gonna be fun to watch.
They just need to stay
whether
healthy.
We make the playoffs or not is another question, but yeah, at least we'll be there.
Spoiler,
we'll be around.
Spoiler, when we get to like that part, I think I I did some in-depth with some other friends who are Angel fans, and I'm like, I think if you look at it at a very broad scope, they have a shot. I just think the NL East is going to be a beast of a division, and it might be one of those bits where it's like they win 88 to 90 games and miss out because the NL East is just gonna. It depends. It really depends on how the NL East shakes out. Either you're gonna have two or three teams from the NL East who beat up on everyone, or they're gonna be beating up on each other, and they're all gonna be around like 85 wins.
Yeah, NL East or AL West?
AL East, because AL East you have the
yeah.
In teams of who
You're
are
talking like Red Sox and
teams who are competitive, you have Red Sox, Yankees, Blue Jays, Rays, or all 5 teams are probably going to be kind of competitive to some degree.
I was going to say the whole AL for the most part is going to be,
apart from this, I think the Central's
competitive.
The Central's going to be your weakest division by far. But I think you're going to have, it's really going to be like, are you going to get I could see 2-3 teams come out of the West. I could see 2-3 teams come out of the East. It's just, it really depends on where you think, it depends on how you evaluate moves and stuff. It's like, do you really think like do you think Jacob DeGrom healthy Jacob DeGrom will propel 10 wins for the Rangers? Or do you think an Angels team with better additions, higher depth, and a healthy season of Rendon, Ohtani, and Trout will give them to the 90-95 win plateau? Does Seattle continue to play at a 90 win clip, or do they regress? Like there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that fluctuation because I think it's like the Astros and everyone else.
Yep. So, but yeah, well, I guess. And I'm still mad that Ari is keeping the team
until 2026. Apparently,
is that what the reporting is?
They said people who are close to him have said he's got plans up to 2026. I don't know if that's just like the business thing of like, this is where we want to, future casting of like, we want to be here at this point, or if it's really like, I don't plan on selling for 3 years. I take it with a grain of salt, but I think it's worth like keeping in your brain.
Yeah. So, well, moving on from baseball, as much as we enjoy talking baseball, especially Specs.
Sorry.
So today, as of this recording on Friday, so when this goes up, it'll have been a few days, and maybe, who knows, maybe some news will have come out since then. I doubt it, but we'll see. Kyrie Irving requested a trade from the Brooklyn Nets.
Didn't he do this in the spring?
This is basically the same thing that happened in the offseason, and even with Brooklyn having a pretty good season so far, nothing's changed. He's still, my thought is probably his whole thing back in the offseason when he requested a trade was, it definitely seemed, I mean, obviously I haven't read that any sources necessarily confirm this, but most people seem to indicate that he wants to leave because of all the COVID restrictions Brooklyn placed, like New York had at the time last season, where he wasn't able to play basically almost any home games because he didn't want to get vaccinated. And so it seems like despite the fact that now he doesn't have to be and can still play home games, it seems like the bitter feelings are still there, and he wants to get out. And from what the reporting during the offseason was, Kyrie and Kevin Durant aren't getting along very well. So
yeah, I was talking about this before we went live with somebody else, and I think it's just I flat out think it's he doesn't like Brooklyn.
Yeah,
to be frank,
every indication is he wants to play for the Lakers.
Yeah, and I remember that's what I was saying. Like I told you before we recorded, I'm like, I can see a Westbrook Kyrie straight up trade, and my other friend I'm talking to is like, nah, I think their Lakers have to give up something else for him. I go, I don't think they do. I think Brooklyn's biggest resource is going to won't be assets. I think they want the cap space to go get somebody else. Whether it be, another star, because it's one of those bits too. Right here all the time. It's like there's always gonna be another disgruntled star that you can go out and get. So the Nets.
I don't see the Lakers giving up a.
I don't think the Lakers give up a pick.
I don't see them giving up a first round pick for him, because I think the belief within the Lakers is
we can get him for nothing.
They could get him in the offseason.
I think they're not going to make the same mistakes the Knicks did with Carmelo, where it's like if he really wants to be a Laker, they can just sign him and not have like the rental situation. And like I said, I think of the Knicks when the Nuggets, when they traded Carmelo and traded the farm for Carmelo Anthony, where it's like they could have gotten him in the offseason. If that's the case, maybe they wait. But I will say a Lakers team with Kyrie is probably the third best team in the West. Probably.
I think a Lakers team with Kyrie and if Anthony Davis is healthy, they could contend to be the best team in the West.
In a
playoff series,
right?
I don't know how many teams could beat the Lakers if they had Kyrie, LeBron, and AD.
No. But my point is they'd be in the conversation with Memphis and Denver for sure. The only reason why I'm sort of saying like I don't know if they'd be ahead of Denver is Jokic is a freak of nature, so.
But I think in a 7-game series, I think if you have, like I said, if you have Anthony Davis healthy, well, the thing is if they do trade for Kyrie, if they are able to get Kyrie, I think the Lakers would be very cautious with Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
Because they would now have 2 prime scorers in LeBron and Kyrie.
Yeah,
and they wouldn't necessarily need to put the load on Anthony Davis.
Exactly. That's why, because it's the whole bit
and they
too.
would want Anthony Davis ready for the playoffs.
Yeah, that's the whole bit of if I remember. So, like, if you ever listen to the Dan Le Batard show, their basketball guy Amino Hassan made this point with Brooklyn with Durant. What was it? Durant, Kyrie. And
Ben Simmons,
not Ben. Before that,
James Harden.
James Harden. I don't know why Harden's name escaped me. With those 3 guys, was sometimes the key with the 3 stars isn't them playing together. It's the flexibility of having. Tonight it's Kyrie Harden. Tonight it's Kyrie Durant. Tonight it's Durant Harden. Like that's the flexibility you want. Is then if Anthony Davis is hurt, it's Kyrie James. Okay, that we know that can work. So it gives you that thing of like you can keep AD if AD needs to rest more, put him on more rest. Same thing with James, put him on more rest. You can do this sort of rotation now, where it's not like it doesn't feel like you're taking a step back with someone like Westbrook if you go out and get a Kyrie. And the better point with Kyrie that I even said this, my other buddy who I'm talking this to, I go, the thing you're missing with a Lakers Kyrie thing, if he doesn't see eye to eye with LeBron, he only has to deal with LeBron for 3-4 years max, and then it's him and Davis. And Davis, I don't think has a problem being a number 2 like most superstars do. I think Davis is like, I just want to win. I don't care if I'm a number 2 or number 3. I just want to win. Kyrie can be top dog. Anthony Davis don't care. Anthony Davis will do Anthony Davis things from what I've gathered with Anthony Davis. Then you're fine. It's just a matter of can LeBron and Kyrie put it aside for 2.5, 3 years? And
I think Kyrie is such a different person too that they wouldn't butt heads.
No, I don't think.
Hard.
I wonder if half the problems you're seeing is Kyrie. I don't mean this in a bad. I don't necessarily buy into like the whole like alpha thing, but I wonder with like Kyrie if sometimes like with Durant, like you sort of heard this with Kobe a little bit, but it's like certain guys just don't mesh well. Maybe Durant and Kyrie just don't like mend well together for whatever reason. And maybe he and James do because James is like big brother to Kyrie. And it's like, because the whole thing is, they won a title together. Regardless of how they felt, they put it aside to win. Regardless of how old Kyrie was at that point and how old LeBron is now. they still put it aside to win a title. I think they could do it again. And Kyrie has to know he has a better shot of going on a run with the Lakers out west or a team out west than he does in the East right now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, no, me, like, if the Lakers end up landing Kyrie Irving, you will hear me saying I believe that the Lakers could make the finals this year.
Well, you want to know what the wacky part is? Is the Lakers have had, somebody said four, this was like Monday or Tuesday, have had the last 4 games with calls. If they had won those 4 games, they'd be in a position to they'd be in contention to host a playoff series. Because of how close the West is. Like a guy like Kyrie, whether it's the Lakers, the Mavericks, whoever gets him, if you're a West Coast team, you have to be calling Brooklyn and being like, what do we want? Like how? Because because of how bunched up it is, you could be a team like 10, 11, 12, and you could get Kyrie and bam, you're 3.
Yeah, but I think it was either Woj or Shams. I can't remember who. The reporting is most of the calls coming into Brooklyn are
probably Durant.
How does Kevin Durant feel about all this?
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Is like if you can, because this is the thing with the Heat too. Is that's why people were kind of like, wait, why? Because everyone's like Durant to the Heat. It just made sense. That's probably part of it. Is like, is this like going to be a dismantling? We're going to see where it's like Brooklyn's going to tear down and rebuild. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're willing to move on from Kyrie. I don't think Durant cares. Durant can win with anyone. I think Durant and Ben Simmons will be fine. But I know people would rather get Durant, but it's like Kyrie's still Kyrie. And I'm not saying as a Laker fan, I'm just saying like, dude, Kyrie's still Kyrie. That's all.
Yeah, no, I mean, if you're the Lakers, you try to get Kyrie Irving and
all I'm calling is saying, hey, Kyrie for Russell Westbrook, let's make it happen.
Well, and here's the thing. There's 2 reasons the Lakers have been about average this year. They're what, just under 500 right now. And there's 2 reasons that they're not sinking as much as they were last year. And it's because LeBron is playing out of his mind. You know, to be his age and still be playing at his level is wild. I am far from being a LeBron fan. I kind of just accept that he's a Laker, but at the same time, I can't deny that he's one of the best talents that's ever come into the NBA. Now, the other thing though is Westbrook finally did what I said he needed to do last year.
Not be a selfish.
This is what I was saying last year. He needed to accept a bench role and needed to accept that he's not going to be as primary of a scorer, but he's going to be a passer. And the thing with Westbrook is that's made him so much better this year is he's realized that if he passes the ball, even on the bench, if he passes the ball enough, it creates scoring opportunities for him. And so he's able to score, he's able to pass, like he's able to do his whole thing. And it's allowed him to pick everything up off on the bench, which is taken some of the slack off, or the pressure off LeBron. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, because the whole thing is right now Dennis Schroeder is their starting point guard, and there are certain things I've liked about Dennis Schroeder this year. But if they got Kyrie, you'd suddenly have Kyrie as your starting point guard. You'd have an actual big 3 in your starting lineup. And then in your bench, you'd have Dennis Schroeder would be able to finally serve the role he was meant to serve. And you'd be able to have a more full bench in a lot of ways. I know it sounds like weird to take Russell Westbrook off the bench and then say, but you can have a better bench by trading it. And it's like, it's because the pieces that would be coming off the bench would truly be bench pieces. So, All right, but the real big news from this past week, Tom Brady took to social media without any fanfare, without any ESPN's reporting, this much in advance.
Mm-hmm.
He just got on his social media accounts and said, "Thanks, guys. I'm retiring. Bye." Do you believe he's actually retired?
Yes.
Yeah?
I can tell you why.
You don't think this is a ruse to negotiate a contract with the Dolphins or something?
No.
Or wherever Sean Payton...
he went
Denver.
to Denver.
He could go to Denver.
He went there. No. That was part of it. Sean Payton's in Denver. Sean Payton's in Denver, and he has a contract lined up with Fox to go into the booth. I think... part of me wonders, like the conspiracy part of my head wonders if he and Peyton were having talks of like, hey, I'm probably going to coach again if the thing's right. Do you want to go with me? But the whole thing was the teams that would have gotten Brady didn't necessarily need Peyton. Like they were saying, like San Francisco was one of them. Miami, both of them have coaches that I think do well enough as it is. I know there were reports that McDaniel could be out, but I think then if that would have been the case and Brady kind of walked away again, it'd be like the conspiracy theory thing again, where it's like they wanted Sean Payton, sort of bit. I really think Sean Payton taking the Denver job sort of solidified it, but Brady has his job now. He's going to be in the booth he'll be in the booth. So that's where he's going. He going to the Fox booth.
Yeah, no. Look, I am not as high on Tom Brady as a lot of football fans tend to be. But he had one of the greatest careers, if not the greatest career anybody's ever had. I think there's something to be there. I think there is discussion to be had whether he's necessarily the greatest player of all time.
Doesn't matter.
No, I know. But what I'm saying is like there's a discussion to be had there because you can bring up guys like Joe Montana. You can even bring up guys like Steve Young.
Really, you have to throw Steve Young in there, don't you?
Yeah. But I mean, like in terms of like the greatest players to play the game versus the greatest careers is not the same thing, and I think it's almost undeniable that Tom Brady had the greatest career of all time.
Yeah,
it's hard to fight like the numbers, the longevity. Like he had pretty much the greatest career of all time. And then what was funny is I remember reading a tweet where somebody said, we will never see another player like this again, and I was like, we say that about every time that we have the greatest player
but
comes to the league.
It's like you mean that though.
There will be in 20 years we'll be talking about, wow, how can we ever think Tom Brady was the greatest when John Kennedy was
John Here's what I'll say. I don't think you'll see a quarterback who's gonna win at that level that you saw Tom Brady at. I don't think you're gonna see that again. That's not gonna happen. That's the thing though. We say that, but it hasn't. The guy who'd be the closest part would be Mahomes, and Mahomes getting steamrolled.
But that's the thing. Yeah. You may not be seeing it today, but people were saying the same thing about Joe Montana.
I don't think you're gonna see it in 20 years. I really don't. I think the way the game's developed and how the game's gone, you're gonna get more guys who are gonna be in that mold of Mahomes. You're seeing it now with Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams is probably the next Patrick Mahomes. Probably. Like, is he? But that's my point. Is like guys like that now. You're not Patrick Mahomes. Guys like that, like Luck and all them were once a generation talents. Now it's every 4 years.
Sure. I get that, but
think about
Tom
this.
Brady also wasn't a once a generation talent.
No, but my point being is like what's more likely to happen here? Let me ask you this. What's more likely to happen? I'm not saying guys who have but here's my point. Guys who have the Tom Brady talent, that are going to push the court. Because I think here's what's going to happen in the NFL. It's everyone's going to have a quarterback. I think teams now, because every team's going to have a quarterback. You're literally entering a team where it's top 15 or bottom 15 quarterbacks. That's where we're at in the NFL. And it's like, if you're bottom 15, suck enough, you're going to get another quarterback. That's really the realm. Is once your quarterback's old, you go back down, you suck for a couple of years, and then you're right back where you are for another decade or two. Like, that's really where we're at. That revolving door, as long as that revolving door is going to happen, you're not going to see a guy who's going to win like Tom Brady won at all. It's not going to happen. The only guy who has a shot at doing it is in Kansas City, maybe Buffalo, and maybe Cincinnati. That's it. It's those three guys who have the shot. Everyone else,
I agree that nobody in the NFL right now is going to be the next Tom Brady. But I'm saying we always discuss in sports, like, there's nobody, and maybe with semantics, yeah, nobody will ever be like Tom Brady ever again. Nobody will ever have quite that same career. But I guarantee by the time you and I die, okay, there will be another player who we discuss who we say is the greatest of all time.
I don't doubt that, but I don't think I can't see
who will have won plenty in his career.
Sure.
And that's the only way we can talk about him being the greatest of all time is if he wins.
We'll see. Maybe you'll see a dynasty. But in the NFL, dynasties are stupid hard.
No, and I agree.
Probably
it's not like I'm saying this is gonna happen.
No, I'm not saying it's gonna happen tomorrow, but I'm saying, yeah, by 2053, sure.
No, that's exactly that's all I'm saying.
I'm saying
is in sports we tend to have this thing where nobody's ever going to be like Jordan again, and that's true. Technically, Kobe was kind of like Jordan.
LeBron's not like Kobe, but I get what you're saying. Like, what's going to happen 30 years down the line?
There will be in the next 30 to 40 years. New player who we say, wow, he was the greatest player of all time.
I will say
never
this.
See a guy like this again. It's just this. It's not a problem.
I will give you this.
The sports like saying that we have.
I will say this though. If you had to give me money, do I think someone passes his record, breaks his records? 1,000%. His records will be broken for sure. 1,000%. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Let's talk about this horrible. Let's talk about the crappy refereeing from the title games. Oh, where do I begin? Do you want to start? Do you want to go NFC, AFC?
Sure.
So I want to know something. How were two hits that injured two quarterbacks clean plays? I really want to know. I legit want to know, because you can cuss the guy. And I'm like, when I saw the hit on Johnson, I'm like, how's that not roughing the passer? Like the hit on Purdy, I was like, I even said, I go, that's an incomplete pass for Brady. Like I wonder. I've often had this weird thought. I'm never one of these guys who are like, oh, it's scripted, but I have weird wonders where I see stuff like this and I'm like, that looked like you to player safety, right? Like, I get it. Like, you go for the ball, but like, you get armed like that. And Purdy's out for a year, man. We got to do better. We got to do better.
Here's the thing on that regard, in terms of like whether it's scripted and how does something like that not get called. I think that ultimately what refs are trying to do, or what refs are told to do, is look for very specific types of hits.
Do we have to go to VAR? And call roughing. It's like, do we, but it's what, see, I get what you're saying, where it's like they have to look for certain instances other than you're gonna have everything. But
that's the thing. Like, people have been pointing out like these, how is this huge hit and not roughing the passer?
But then
this one that looks pretty soft is roughing the passer. It's because they've been told, well, if he wraps his arms in a certain way to take him down, then you're going to have to call roughing the passer in case the player gets concussed. We can't be liable, because that's the thing. That's the only thing the NFL cares about.
But I mean, you look at that hit. But you look at that hit on Johnson. You tell me that's not clear roughing.
Yeah, well, no, I agree. I agree. But that's my thing is like my first rant on this podcast.
Yeah, I know.
Had to do with targeting.
No, I know.
And how in overabundance of caution, and I mean overabundance, has broken the game. It has just.
Yeah, no, it has.
It makes me so upset because there's so much focus on like, look, here's the ultimate truth that I said.
You're going to get hurt.
Football is dangerous.
Yeah.
You're going to get hit. You're going to get hurt. You're probably going to have injuries that last a lifetime. Unless you know how to protect yourself, you're probably going to have injuries that last a lifetime. I think I think there was a point. It's like I said in that one episode where, back when you remember when Austin Collie had those injuries where he got hit, like he got leveled by like the Seahawks and like there was a couple other hits. He ended up out of the game because he had so many concussions. But that's the thing.
Who was the BYU? Wasn't there another BYU guy like in college who had that issue too? I think his name was Steven. I can't think of his last name. But there was someone but there was somebody else. They were like he went to I could have sworn it was a BYU guy, but it was somebody like his name. Like it was the same thing. Like you're gonna get hurt. But my whole thing, see, maybe because I play baseball, and when I hear like UCL tears and elbow stuff, where it's like Tommy John, like everyone's like Purdy's out 6-8 months, dude. No, that man's out a year. His sophomore year gone. He ain't gonna pick. He's not picking up a ball till this time next year. It's that's how bad this is. Sure. And the reason why I'm saying like, hey, that needed to be rough. Pete needs to be a penalty. If now you're reaching the thing where, you can injure an elbow by getting hit. And I know it was more so like a torque thing because he got hit and it was the torque. It was a snapback. But I'm like, we're so worried about the head. It's like, dude, Brock Purdy might not ever throw again. And they're like, whoa, it's a freak injury. Sure, you can argue freak injury like Robert, like RG3 freak injury, right? But it's like the guy had to go back out there, and if his UCL, if he had no ligament in there, he's a sitting duck, man. He's a sitting duck out there that can't do anything. I don't understand when it comes to like stuff like this, where it's like if your job is to protect the players, you can't pick and choose your instance to be like, this is this is that, this is this. When you had one guy get concussed, you had one guy literally blow his elbow out by the same defensive line in the same game, and it very much seemed like it seemed like every call the Niners breathed, it was 15 yards. The Niners did anything, it was 15 yards. To a point where I'm like, Shanahan needs to get tossed. Because you're reaching I'm like, this is pinnacle. And I know every Eagles fan who is like, loser mentality. I'm like, dude, you watch that game and you tell me, did you feel like you're getting calls? Because it really felt like the Eagles, everyone was like, Eagles are getting away with everything. I've never seen both games. I don't think I've ever seen two playoff games where I'm like, this is reffing is horrid. Because, the AFC was the same way. The AFC gave Kansas City a phantom third down because, one, they couldn't hear. But I'm baffled. I don't think it legitimately felt like they wanted an Andy Reid revenge game. I mean, ultimately, that phantom third down didn't matter. No, it doesn't. Nothing. It matters to nothing. But it's like, God forbid. Keeps talking about that, and I'm like, look, I think ultimately the Chiefs did win that. Oh game. No, they won that game. I don't like. It was still by 3 points, but I'm like, they're like, even still, it's like both calls. I'm just like, dude, we got to stop doing this. No, yeah, I agree. I think because people talked about scripting. I think ultimately though, it comes back to what my rant was the. I think reffing has become broken because the refs are becoming more of a piece to protect the NFL from liability. Well, they have to, especially after. Well, think about what you have. They've taken the rules, and like I said, the point I had been making was when we had the Austin Collie injuries. Yeah. The rules weren't in place. There wasn't enough rules to protect the players, and so like the rules needed, like let's say the rules needed to be here. They were down here. And then we were down here, but now we're like way up here. Well, the whole thing was too beyond what we needed to be doing. it's like where Austin Collie was. That was still the era where going over the middle was like right into a crocodile infested pond.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the thing. Austin Collie in today's NFL,
he'd be ecstatic. Yeah, he'd be amazing.
He would be a Hall of Fame
receiver.
Okay,
hold on. Let's not get there. Let's not jump to that.
Well, no. He would definitely pair him with the right quarterback. Pair him with the right quarterback, like Peyton Manning.
He would have been Julian Edelman.
And
I think he would have been Julian Edelman level. He would have been Julian Edelman level.
At the very least, he would have been borderline Hall of Fame level because.
Okay, listen, he wouldn't have been borderline Hall of Fame level. He would have.
His ability to catch the ball in the middle
that's why I'm saying like he would have been Julian Edelman level. I'm not if Julian that's my bar is if Julian I can't say Austin Collie would have been borderline Hall of Famer, but I'm saying I think he would have been on par with Julian Edelman. Is Julian Edelman Hall of Famer?
A bunch more seasons like the one he had with like the ones he had with Peyton Manning.
Okay, yeah, but you got to remember who he had on that team. I'm a Colts fan. They had Reggie Wayne still on the outside, a young Ty. Dude, that team had stacks of wide receivers. They could, like, of course he's gonna get looks. Everyone else is getting covered by everyone else. Austin Collie's dancing around half naked because no one's around him. Of course he's gonna get passes and looks, you idiot. Like, what are you talking about?
I still say he would have had a.
He would have, but I'm glad you think so.
I didn't say. Well, okay. I may have initially said he would have had a border, or he would have had a Hall of Fame career.
Oh my god!
But ending with borderline.
Oh my god! I can't with these BYU guys. I can't.
Austin Collie was a great receiver in his day.
Are you gonna come back and tell me that what's his face, the BYU point guard, would have been a Hall of Famer in today's NBA?
No. Jimmer Fredette, heck no.
Okay. I just want to see where the line is. Jimmer Fredette, ankle breaker extraordinaire.
Look, no. Look, if I was a BYU homer, if I was just a BYU homer, I am a BYU homer to some extent. But if I let it like completely cloud me, all you'd be hearing me is saying how Zach Wilson in 10 years is going to be one of the greatest quarterbacks in the NFL.
Zach Wilson might be flipping burgers in 2 years.
No. I think he'll be a backup in 5 and retired.
Don't worry. No. He's going to be a starter, and he'll be a starter in Green Bay when the Jets get Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, no. I think Jordan Love is a better quarterback than Zach Wilson. So,
all right. So switching over Super Bowl.
Anyways.
I think we'll talk more about this in depth. Next Friday. But Super Bowl week, Bryce. Get ready for a week of Tom Brady. Yeah. What?
Don't remember your best friend's name? Come on.
I remember my best friend's name. Her name also. Never mind.
Oh man, no. So yeah, we got the Chiefs. We got the Eagles.
Yippee skippy.
As you said.
Andy Reid revenge game.
Yeah. We've got a couple weeks here, so we don't have to do our whole. We don't have to do our whole preview now. Although I think by the time our next one releases, it'll be like the day after the Super Bowl.
I might have to do like a thing where we'll just do it up at the top and then I'll edit it.
Yeah, maybe we'll do it on like a Saturday or something and then
edit. Well, I'll be out of town. I'll be driving up north.
Yeah.
Again. So I can do it up there.
We'll figure something out. But
or you just upload it.
No,
again.
so we have a couple weeks of previewing the Super Bowl.
A week.
But I am excited for this game. I mean, you've basically got the two best teams in the NFL facing off.
Yeah. I just hope and pray that it's not that Philly kind of crumbles, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna do more like looking into each team.
Ooh,
but
I won't.
As we go through this next week, but I have a hard time picturing the Chiefs losing, only because of their experience.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes
And he's got a week to rest his ankle, so.
Yeah, one of the greatest quarterbacks we've ever seen.
Is this thing... Yeah. Well, if he wins 2, then he'll be in that Tom Brady discussion, because now it's like, yeah, then you can be like dynasty, I guess. Like I said, I think the only 2 other guys who are going to get in his way are Josh Allen and Joe Burrow, who I think both will get their time, will get their shot. For sure.
Sure.
And then we'll see, but that's really what's going to come down to. On that side, I don't even... The NFC side, you got me. We'll see. There's no...
Yeah.
There's really nothing on the NFC side where I'm like, that guy's going to do it. It's all AFC side. And realistically, it's still going to be the AFC side, because this year, the top 3 quarterbacks, or 2 of them will probably be in the South. And then one will be... I don't even know where the other one's, because Houston's going to draft... Maybe... I guess maybe Carolina will draft a quarterback. Even they might not. Who knows? I think Carolina's is further down, but it's like it's really gonna be those 3 guys. Maybe one of the guys, but I guess even then it's just be like, then you just throw Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud into the mix in there too, and that's
Jaron
AFC.
Hall to the Colts. I'm just kidding.
It ain't gonna be Jaron Hall. It's gonna be... I'll tell you who I think they're gonna take. I really think they're gonna take... I don't want the dude from Kentucky. That dude's just... no, I don't think he's... No, please no. Take Stroud. Take Bryce Young, or trade up. And I honestly would trade up and don't even let Houston... Don't let anyone steal them from you. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Anything else? Okay.
No, yeah, that's about what I think. I think, like I said, we'll give a more detailed type preview, but I think we're both in agreement. It seems like probably going to be the Chiefs this year, but I don't think it's a given though. This isn't one of those years where we have a given.
I think I will say this though. I'll look more into it, but I do think the wide receiving core is better for the Eagles than it is the Chiefs. So, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else you want to add before we put a bow on this one?
No. I mean, it's a great time for sports. Good time for video games. I mean,
and then we enter a dead period.
This is the life.
And then we enter a dead period until the World Baseball Classic starts in March for sports.
Yeah.
Delightful. All right. Well, that's all that. Check out our channels. Check out Bryce across the board at BrycethePrince the Gaming, as you see down below, right below our cameras. If you're watching this on the YouTubes, it's right there. Those are our socials. That's mine across the board. That's basically his across the board, except for his has gaming. Maybe you'll see us live on Twitch together sometime soon. But until next Monday, have yourself a good week. Have yourself a good whatever. Talk to you guys later next week. Bye.
See you guys.